And here are my top 3 rules for permanent weight loss. This is what has helped me lose over 150 pounds and keep it off for over 7 years. And I've come to these just from trial and error. It's not like I set out and did this perfectly right off the bat. It's from purely failing multiple times. The number one thing that you get to do is forgive yourself. I know that sounds kind of like cheesy and woo-woo, but if you don't forgive yourself, you will inevitably be acting from a place of fear and punishment. So with your workouts and with your nutrition, it is always going to be something that you're doing because you fucked up and you're not good enough. Whereas if you take the time to forgive yourself and accept that this is who you are and this is what you are right now, then you allow yourself to make true progress forward. Because inevitably, if you can't forgive yourself, then you will just come back into a spiral loop of where every time you mess up, it's just more ammunition for the idea that you're not good enough and that you don't deserve to keep your weight off or be just a healthy, fit person. And by forgiving yourself, you are acknowledging that the thing that really helped me forgive myself, because this is probably going to be one of the hardest ones that you do, if not the hardest, is that if you look at your life and all of the less than ideal behaviors that you have, like mine would be binge eating, procrastinating. I procrastinate playing video games, eating food, watching porn, all sorts of different things. But if you can see those behaviors as defense mechanisms for the stress that you're dealing with in your life, and understand at some point in time, those behaviors actually saved you because they helped you deal with a moment in time that was really stressful for you. It allowed me to see that and see that person as someone who was in pain or struggling, and forgive that part of myself that was using those behaviors, because it was no longer, oh wow, you're such a fucking idiot, you should know better. It became, oh wow, this person is in pain. Look at how it just was so clear that these are the things that I was doing to avoid having to confront or take responsibility for my life. The second thing for permanent weight loss is going to be knowing your why. And you want to know your why because, or at least in my experience, you want to know your why because if you don't know why you're doing something, you're going to inevitably give up. You're going to fail, because when life gets hard, because life is going to get hard, that is just like how it is, you're going to go back to your old ways of being. Because it's easier. You've done basically more repetitions in your old style, like your old lifestyle behaviors, than you have in these new ones that you're trying to build. And when things get hard, it's a lot easier to just go back to the way you used to do things. But if you know why you are doing these new behaviors and their importance to you, then it doesn't matter how hard they are or how difficult life gets, because that why is going to be so important that you are willing to take on that burden. Because that's what Nietzsche said, or Viktor Frankl said, that a man, any man who, or what is it? A man who knows his why can bear any how. I can't remember the quote. I'm sure you've heard it before. If not, you can go look it up. But knowing your why is super important. So the way I like to do that is this little exercise where you go seven layers deep in asking yourself why something is important to you. Because usually, like for me, when I first started losing weight, it was purely just like, one, personally, I wanted to look better and get girls, and two, I started fighting Muay Thai, so I had like this obligation to lose weight. But my deep why was like, I just wanted to get laid, man. Like that's really what I wanted to do, because I've been fat my whole life, and it wasn't like something like I would go to parties and I would just be like the funny fat friend. I was not going to be the friend that was going home with the girl at the end of the night. But knowing your why, like that's those things are nice in the moment, like wanting to go home with somebody, but that's not like gonna drive you. It's not gonna be enough motivation for when life kicks you in the nuts, basically. But knowing why you want to do that on a deeper level is going to keep you accountable to your actions and behaviors. And for me, I'll just share my like that's what it started out as, just wanting to get girls, and why that was important to me is because I never had that when I was growing up or when I was younger. That was not who I was, and I didn't get that kind of attention. And why that was important to me is because I didn't feel like, I just felt kind of out of control, like I couldn't control my life. And why that was important to me to get control of my life is because on the, like, at the deepest level of this is that when I was younger, I was kidnapped, and my mother basically brainwashed me and my sister, and I gave up control of my mind and my choices to somebody else, and somebody else used them to betray me and take advantage of me. And so my why at the end of the day, at the deepest level, is that I will always be in control of my mind and my behaviors, and I'm not going to give that responsibility to somebody else. So that is like, because if I am fit and healthy in my body, I am much more confident in myself and my decisions, and I'm less likely to do things for other people because they want me to, or that they tell me I should do them. And I'm much more likely to do the things that I feel that I should do, or I feel that I want to do. And that's a much deeper, much more powerful why for me, as far as actually getting things done and actually behaving in the way that I want to behave, and not how someone told me I should behave. And number 3 is knowing your destination. So you want to know your destination, because oftentimes, or at least for myself, when I first lost weight, I lost 100 pounds in 6 months. I went from like 320-ish, 330-ish to 220. And that was great. But I gained probably 60 pounds back in less than 3 months because I didn't have a plan afterwards. And I feel like that's what happens with most people. And if you're like me, you don't have like a plan after you meet your goal. It's just the immediate, I want to lose weight so I can get the girl, so I can go to the beach and feel good. Those are like, it's just immediate gratification of why you want to do something. But knowing where you want to be in the destination and what that's going to look like once you reach your goal, that is going to help give you a clear idea of the actions and the behaviors that are going to allow you to feel that way or do those things that you want to do. Because if you don't have an actual destination, you aren't going to be able to see where you got to when you get there. And so, like for me, I would do these things where I would get really lean, and then I would kind of lose motivation and get kind of soft and fluffy, and I would just kind of yo-yo, roller coaster all the time. But one day I was looking back at my pictures of the time that I had done a cut, and I was like super lean. I was really shredded, and I was like, damn, I just need to get back to this. Like, this is great. I like the way I look right here. But I remembered when I was looking at it that I hated myself at those times. Like, I legitimately did not like the way I looked in the moment when I was doing that cut, when I was that lean. It was never good enough, and I was a huge asshole. I was a dick to my fiance. Like, I'm so lucky that she put up with my bullshit, because I was such an asshole. And I couldn't see that. But here I was now, in this moment, looking back at this previous time of when I was so lean and so shredded, and I just wanted to be there. And I realized in that moment that because I hadn't set a destination for myself, I hadn't set a bar of what was good enough and what that would look like, I never was able to appreciate it. And so I had this whole time of where I had been this way that I basically wanted to look, and I didn't appreciate it, and I let it go. And because I was standing here from this point where I was out of shape and overweight again, and I didn't like myself anymore. And I had already been to the place that I wanted to be at. And I just didn't appreciate it when I got there because I couldn't, because I didn't set a destination. So those are my top 3 things. 1, forgive yourself. 2, know your why. And 3, clearly define your destination. Okay, and there's 3 benefits for doing these things. 1 is that this allows for continual progress. If you are able to forgive yourself, you can always keep building forward, because if you can't forgive yourself, then you're always just going to be in a cycle of punishment, and you're always going to just repeat, where you're not getting any better, right? You'll go to the gym, eat super clean, go hard, and then you mess up, and then it just spirals out of control, and you're worse off than where you started. And then the second one is having meaning. Having meaning, knowing your why gives you meaning, and it gives you a purpose that is beyond just the instant gratification of feeling good or getting the girl or being able to take your shirt off at the beach. Like, those things are nice, but like I said, when life gets really hard, when you get that car payment that you weren't expecting, when you get that bill that you weren't expecting, and it just like crushes you, it doesn't matter, because you know what you're doing, and that's just part of the game. Because it doesn't matter that that's what life gave you, you're still going to get to your destination. And having this destination, number 3, it gives you actions and direction. So it makes it a lot easier. Instead of having to guess what you should be doing, it's kind of, Simon Sinek calls it the celery test. And it's a very simple thing of just, does this action tell other people about what I believe or where I'm going? And so the celery test is, if you're at the grocery store and you're checking out, and you got your celery, cucumbers, whatever, lean meats, all these like things that clearly mean that if you saw somebody have those on their cart, you would go, oh, this person cares about their health, they care about their nutrition. It's very clear to you that they care about their well-being. Now, the celery test is just that, is that it's something that somebody else can just look at, like a thumbnail view, and get all this meaning out of it. Whereas if somebody has the celery, the cucumbers, the lean meats, they have a bag of Oreos, then it becomes kind of like well, this guy looks like he's trying to eat healthy and take care of himself, but there's this package of double stuffed Oreos on here, so I don't really know what this person's about. I don't really know what they're into. It looks like they're into this thing, but then you're also sending them this mixed signal. And so by having this destination, it gives you action and directions. So when you are confronted with different choices, you can just take them and apply them to your destination and hold them up against where you want to be, what you want to do, and how you want to feel. And if this action or behavior is going to build that up or bring it down. Because if it's going to bring it down, bring it down. If it's going to take you further away from those places and the things you want to feel and the things you want to do, then it's probably an action that you don't want to do. And so by having these having this 1, 2, 3, forgiveness, why, and destination, you can get your continual progress, you can have a deep, meaningful life, and you have actions and directions to keep you moving forward. I hope those help. I hope those help you in your own journey, because these are the things that have really helped me. These are as far as like my foundational principles upon which have allowed me to lose that 150 pounds and keep it off for 7+ years. I think if you don't have these things in play, or at least I know for myself, I inevitably would just kind of cycle back through the weight loss yo-yo roller coaster binge cycle. Thank you for watching.